Hey, what's up? I'm Kristen May. I sing and play keys for Flyleaf.
I am Samir. I play guitar for Flyleaf.
So we just released our new album called Between the Stars in September, and we toured a little bit on it last year, and now we're starting this year off with the Snowcore tour, which is amazing. It's us and Framing Hanley, Fit for Rivals, and Adelaida's Way. It's been great so far.
When we write songs, we don't really have a specific process that we stick to. There's every which way you can write a song. I think that we have and will approach it that way. Sometimes like Kristen or Pat or I will have a full song that we'll just present to the band, and if all the band likes it, then then it'll become a song. And if it's like, well, we like this part but not that part, we'll rip it apart and Frankenstein it, or we'll be in the practice room and Jared will be getting tones, and he is playing these awesome riffs just while he's like dialing his knobs, and we're like, dude, what was that? Do it again. We'll build a song around that. Or I don't know. I mean, there's no specific way to write a song. I think that if you hear something that is moving you, just move in that direction, and all will be good.
I have many musical influences. They started with Carole King and Joni Mitchell. My mom used to listen to. My dad listened to Led Zeppelin and the Rolling Stones, and then grunge era came along, and my older brother was listening to Nirvana and Soundgarden, and so I wanted to be like him, and so I started listening to those albums and Stone Temple Pilots, and that got me into the Cranberries. And then I got into many female singer-songwriters. That's really, I think, where my heart is. So Fiona Apple and Alanis Morissette at that time. Lately, I've been listening to Ellie Goulding, Radiohead, Jessie Ware, a little bit of everything. I try to keep being inspired by music.
For me, I think starting in the grunge era is when music really started to, I was in junior high. I was like coming out of elementary school into junior high, and those are such confusing times for a young man, young boy. I know there's something in it, so that fearless approach, like nothing was off limits, nothing was off the table, and you could just make noise and throw a guitar through an amp, and call that music, and I thought that was just so cool. And then the post grunge era, like the alternative 90s alternative rock, I really loved the songwriting aspect. How everything was storytelling. And I thought that was really beautiful. I loved how just by changing a melody or changing the chord progression behind a certain melody will completely change the mood of a song and take you in a different direction. And that really stuck with me. And that's something that I knew, even if I wasn't going to be a musician as my job, that it was something that was going to be a huge part of my life. A lot of the beautiful thing about songwriting and music in itself is that outside forces are always influencing you. Relationships, books, philosophies. I think something that always inspires me, or always seems to inspire me when I come across it, just the purpose of like why we're here, and what it is to be a human being, what it is to have a relationship with someone else, the shortcomings of being a faulted human being. I think all those ideas are really fascinating, because even like things that we experience every day, things like we yearn to be around people, and we want to feel connected, but at the same time, we're so shy and we seclude ourselves, and I don't know, it just that dynamic is so funny to me, because we're hurting to be in a relationship and to be understood, but at the same time we're like fighting to be an individual, and to be different and stand out from the crowd, but we want to be accepted and we want to be loved, and it's just that that juxtaposition is just, it's so fascinating to me that, you know, if we could just all just let go of our pride and just love each other, that I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
although all the world's problems would be solved, but, you know, but we're human beings, and that's just not going to be the case.
Non-musical influences, I really enjoy going to museums, actually, art museums a lot, and just getting lost in paintings. I remember the last exhibit I went to in Kansas City, where I'm from. There's great art there, and I can't remember the artist's name, but it was in this big room, and each painting was one singular person, and no matter what they were doing, if they were just sitting at a chair smoking a cigarette, or if they were, you know, in the bathtub just kind of looking off, they had this sadness in their eyes, but the paintings were so beautiful. They were all these deep blues and deep purples and greens, and I thought that was really interesting how, to me, it was like all these people seemed sad, but there was something beautiful about it. And I think that connects me to my favorite songs, are the ones where you're not afraid to show, you know, that we all can have a deep sadness in us, and it is a longing. And so, you know, I think music in a way can satisfy that, and at least can help you get through certain emotions that you maybe don't know how to express otherwise.
I think one of the most important things about the longevity of any career, you know, whether it be music or whatever field that you're in, is the ability to adapt. You know, the ability to observe the world around you and understand that it's dynamic, that it isn't this static thing. You know, and if you're going to progress at all, you're going to have to be able to accept those changes and use that for your advantage, and know that it's not a bad thing. Like it's an amazing thing that you can go through your life and learn something new as you go along from the world around you, from the people around you, the different bands around you, and take, you know, the best parts of those and really try to make it your own. And I think Flyleaf has done a good job of that. You know, we've been fortunate enough to be surrounded with amazing bands and amazing producers, and you just have to open yourself up and accept the fact that they might know something you don't. So just keep your ears open.
Yeah, I think the evolution of myself as an artist, having been in a band previously to Flyleaf, and then writing on my own and trying to figure out who I am as a songwriter and as an artist and in the music business, and how that all relates. And I think the question I always ask is, can you be a true artist and still sell your work? You know, can you find that place where you're still being true to who you are and raw and naked and authentic, and still think of it in a music industry? So I think the way that I'm evolving in that is just trying to search for that pure place and strive to be truer and truer. And I don't know if I'll ever get there, but that's certainly what I'm learning. And as I get older, it becomes more important to pay your bills, but then it also becomes even more important as an artist when you have that aching passion in you to want to create something real. So hopefully by the time I'm 100, I'll make a great album.
One of my favorite moments on tour was when we were in Australia with Deftones, and we had spent the whole tour just going from venue to venue and not really getting to see anything, you know, because we were so busy. And the last day we were headed to the airport, and finally someone was like, "I want to see the beach," you know. And so we just pulled the van over, and we all get out and we go to the beach in Adelaide, and our luggage was in another van headed to the airport, so we didn't have any other clothes. So we just stripped down to our underwear and just jumped in the ocean, and it was an amazing experience to have.
Yeah, on the last tour, we got to go to the Grand Canyon. And as much as I've toured, you know, for the past 10 years, I never made it to the Grand Canyon. I don't know why. And it was just one of those incredible places that you just feel like wraps you up in a big hug of amazing nature that you can't express like what it really means, and it's so much bigger than you, and you feel so small, and it's really beautiful, and it made me want to stay there forever. My friend Lori is our nanny for our tour manager's son, and we got to find a really great spot where there weren't a bunch of tourists right at sunset, and we just, you know, put on our iPhone of Patty Griffin and stared off into the sunset, and it was just
Did you
really
see it
magical.
at night?
Sunset, yeah.
Did you see it under the moonlight? It was a full moon that night.
Oh, yeah, it was
And
so bright. Yeah.
The Grand Canyon under the full moon was just indescribable.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Wow.
It was so good. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
The advice I would give to anyone in the industry is to find out who you are, you know, find your voice, and really hold on to that. I think, especially when you start, you know, getting noticed and getting signed, and you have fans even, you know, start to tell you what your work means. It can be hard sometimes to look at that just objectively and understand that you still need to know what you feel about your own work. And so, and this is just speaking from my own struggles with it, you know, as an artist. I think I'm constantly trying to should keep my head on straight, you know, and it's okay to hear criticism and what other people think, but you have to find your voice, and you have to know who you are, and people are going to appreciate that when you find out who you are, and you'll be able to show that.
I think my answer is, in elaboration on that, is definitely, you know, like finding your voice and knowing your purpose. I think a huge thing about what we do is there has to be purpose behind it. Otherwise, it's empty. You know, you can't do this every night unless there's purpose behind it. Unless, you know, the message you're sharing you feel like is benefiting the world around you. Because if you aren't, I mean, this lifestyle is very exhausting. The message we have in Flyleaf that we're sharing is it's a message of hope and love and salvation. You know, we are these broken human beings, and struggling with the human condition. You know, and we need to acknowledge the fact that we are that way. You know, and that the person you're going to meet next to you, he's going to be that way too, and that person up there is going to be that way too, and we're all in the same boat. You know, and the only thing we can do is to love each other, you know, and try to understand each other and lift each other up, because if not, then we're just destroying each other, and that's just completely pointless.
Thank you so much for listening. We're Flyleaf. We really enjoyed this interview. It's been really great questions, and we hope you've kind of learned a little bit about what we are and what we do.
We love you.